Peter? Okay, so this video is going to be pretty much me just talking because I've had so many questions come in. I'm having my morning coffee, but it's going to be pretty much me talking the whole time. So I just figured I'd come right out and tell you that. So if you don't want to watch it, you don't have to. If you don't want to sit and listen to me talk, but I've had a lot of questions and stuff come in about, how do I get this property? How do I get started off grid and all this? So this is just going to be kind of a overall video of kind of my life the last few years and how I got to this point. So I'm 25. So I actually, by trade, I'm an electrician. So ironically, yeah, the guy that lives off grid is an electrician. But yeah, that's what I went to school for. I had a good job going in my hometown. Everything was going great. But I always had this dream of going up to Alaska and living in Alaska. Thought about it all the time. I knew I had to go. So like literally, just on a whim, I put in my 2 weeks at work and I just went up by myself. Went up there with a couple of bags of clothes, a couple of guns. I flew up there, landed there, and just started a life basically. Didn't even know if I had a place to stay for sure when I got there. I had been in contact with a lady that had a dry cabin, which is a cabin without plumbing and stuff, so kind of an off-grid cabin. And we had been in touch, but I didn't know if it was legit or what. But anyways, I landed there and just figured things out and started a life there. I ended up, long story short, I went up, built a log cabin up there in the wilderness up there remotely. It was about a 5 mile or about a 3 mile four-wheeler ride in there. Pretty remote, and I wanted to be remote. I wanted to just feel I wanted the whole Alaskan experience. I wanted to be out in the wilderness. I wanted to build my own log cabin by myself. Just that whole thing. So I went up there, did that, kind of scratched that itch. I didn't know anybody there. I made some friends when I was up there, but I don't have any family, nobody. So went up and did that. But my family's here. I felt like I was starting to miss out on stuff. If you live in Alaska, getting down to the lower 48 is kind of a big expedition. You're talking, $700-800 round trip ticket. A 2 full day, full day of flying. And then another full day of flying on the way back. So it's kind of a big expedition to just get home and see family. And I kind of felt like I was missing out on things. So decided to come home to Minnesota. But I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to bring the Alaska life back to Minnesota. So I got back, immediately started looking for land. A lot of people have been asking, how do I get started looking for land and all that? Just get on all those websites, Zillow, LandWatch, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace. You can find land, for sale by owner. If your credit's not good or whatever, you maybe don't have a lot of money, I'd look for for sale by owner. Just be on the hunt. Somebody can draw up a contract for deed with you, and you guys can work together and figure out how, payments and stuff, and you can get land that way. Start getting in contact with banks. Just call tons of banks and figure out what you can get approved for and what terms would be and interest rates and stuff like that. But that's what I did. I started just calling banks and all this, and like I said, I was on those websites, and so as soon as you sign up for those websites, it gets pretty obnoxious because all these realtors start calling you and they're like, oh, I saw that you were looking at this property, and it gets kind of annoying, but whatever, just work with them. I started talking to a couple realtors and told them what I was looking for. I was like, hey, I want to get up, northern Minnesota. I'm looking for a remote property. I want to get as remote as I can. I'm looking for land that's bordered on all sides. I want the ultimate privacy. I want to feel like I'm alone out there. Kind of told them, before all this, I got approved for, through a bank to figure out what I could do. So then I kind of told them what was in my budget, and then, they started sending me stuff, that kind of fit my plan. But I got this land for pretty cheap. The reason it was pretty cheap is because, well, you guys saw there was no trail, there's no access. I had to carry in everything, half mile through the woods. I have to cross national forest land to get to my property. This is private property. I had to cross national forest land to get here, and so I had to put in a application for a permit through the USFS, and that took months to get that permit. But they told me, yeah, you can access it, but you can't do any cutting or clearing or anything. You can hike in and out, and that's it. So yeah, I carried lumber, I carried windows, I carried food, I carried everything in here, you know, on my back. So through the woods. And that's partly why this land was so cheap. It's remote and it's hard to get to. So I got it, you know, I ended up getting it for pretty cheap. And you know, but I wanted, you know, again, I wanted the whole experience. I wanted to cut my own trail. I wanted to clear the land. I wanted to build my own cabin from scratch. I wanted the full thing, you know, like I did in Alaska. So I got, yeah, anyways, I you know, I did it. I came here, I cleared all this land, you know, started peeling logs right away. Yeah, I just camped out here and built this place. You know, I did have to get a permit for even the building, or this cabin, you know, through the county. You know, I thought that was going to be a lot, you know, more stressful than it was, but it turned out to be pretty simple. Just had to, you know, make a sketch and tell them what my plans were, and got approved. You know, it wasn't a big deal at all. But that's kind of how I got here. You know, I moved back. First, as soon as the snow, I got back last September. As soon as the snow melted, I was out here in the spring. You know, I wasn't working for 2-3 months while I was clearing land and building this place. So got the cabin up, I got the shell up. You know, this lifestyle takes money. I had to go back to my hometown and get a job once I got the logs up and everything. And came out here. My seasonal job ended, construction season, you know, or seasonal job ended in November. So I was able to come out here and just get this thing sealed up. There was actually snow on the ground by the time I got it sealed up. So that's kind of how that went. So I'll get into total cost of the cabin. Well, the logs were free, you know, you know, it's just hard work. So if that's an option, you know, because I know a lot of people that watch this are, you know, they say, oh, you're living my dream, you know, or how much does it cost? You know, how do you, whatever, all this. Yeah, one option is logs. You know, you can do log cabin. It's free. It's a lot of work, but quite honestly, I don't know. A lot of people, you know, I think log cabins are cool. That's why I did it. But I don't know. I think this will probably be my last one that I ever make. You know, I don't know how long I'll be at this one, living at this one. You know, I kind of want to keep advancing in my life. Eventually, the goal, me and Sierra, I want to get on a lake. I mean, if you live in Minnesota, you got to get on a lake, man. So that's kind of the next step. But I'm sure we'll have this place for a while before we can kind of make that next leap. But yeah, if you're going to use lumber, you know, you can build a cabin this size with lumber for pretty cheap. You know, insulated and everything. You know, all my materials, my windows, all that stuff came from a restore, you know, a Habitat for Humanity restore. This front window was $2. My big window over there was like $2. This window was $2. You know, if you're looking to build a cabin, Craigslist, you know, Facebook Marketplace, garage sales, those are your best friends. I mean, you can significantly lower the cost of your cabin or your build if you get stuff, you know, reused. And so yeah, that's what I did. I'd say this whole cabin, I probably got, I would say maybe $500-600 into it. So pretty cheap. You know, my door's homemade. This is just 2x6 framing lumber. You know, then I stained it and glued it together and clamped it, and you know, I made these battens and you know, stained it up, and yeah, that's a pretty cool front door. You know, it probably cost me $30 for that. You know, with the hinges and the, you know, whatever. So yeah, you can do this thing pretty cheap, you know, and you just got to get motivated and get ambitious and just make it happen. You know, no matter what your financial situation is or your dreams are, you know, some people want 40 acres, some people want 20 acres, some people are cool with 2 acres, you know, some people want to be farther out, some people don't want to be that far out. You know, whatever it is, you can make it happen. You know, just start getting motivated and start getting into contact with, you know, banks or whatever, you know, depending on what your situation is, and just kind of start figuring out what you want and get it on paper, and then just start looking for it and go after it. You know, maybe you got to save up some money. You know, maybe you got to quit eating out. Maybe you got to, you know, just, you know, quit going to the bar. You know, whatever you got to do to make it happen. You know, you can make it happen. You know, I'm not anybody special. You know, I'm a young guy. I just got motivated and just made it happen. So now I got this place. You know, my dream's coming true. Back here in Minnesota. Like I said, not sure where the next couple years are going to take us, but you know, we're going after it. You know, I'll get into my power situation. I'll do that in the next video, that probably a Wednesday video or something. I know last video I said I was going to do it this video, but just had a ton of questions coming in and asking like what I am and or like who I am and how I got to this point. So I just wanted to cover that, you know. So anyways, yeah, I built this whole thing with a chainsaw, a hammer. Well, you can see in my earlier videos, you know, a draw knife, pretty like basic stuff. You know, they make all kinds of fancy gadgets and stuff, but you can do it for, you know, whatever, like I said, however you want to do it, or whatever your goals are. You know, anybody can do this, no matter what your construction experience is. You know, YouTube, you know, is your friend. I learned everything off YouTube and the internet and books. You know, I wasn't an expert on any of this stuff. I'm still not, you know, but you can. I mean, we live in a world now where you can get information. I mean, in the palm of your hand, you can go on your phone and look stuff up and figure out how to do stuff and how to make things happen. You know, and then just, you know, go out and practice and just, you know, you can learn so much nowadays from YouTube and stuff. So, anyways, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to cover that and kind of describe how the cabin kind of came into my life and kind of that whole overview, I guess. And yeah, like I said, thanks for coming on this adventure with me. I'm having a blast sharing it. Love seeing comments, ideas, fun stuff. You know, I'm having a lot of fun doing this. So, you know, thank you guys again. I really appreciate it.